To improve in Age of Empires 4, there's a couple things you need to do that I was doing personally that cost me a lot of flack and actually kind of made me not like the game for a little bit. And I want to make sure you don't make those same mistakes because I want you to love having fun in the game, but also you got to realize that means you're going to lose some, and you're going to lose some in gold. Unless you're like a veteran to RTSs, there's certain things you're probably doing that, I think pro players don't even understand as a noob coming to RTSs like myself didn't. And what I did is I followed the pro plan. I was like, pick one civ, pick a build order, get really good at that build order, climb, get to plat, maybe even diamond, and then just keep following that one thing. And then you end up being like a one trick pony, and then the meta changes, and then all of a sudden you're just losing every game, and you're just hate life. That's essentially what happened to me, and I don't want that to happen to you. So let's kind of go over what my new strategy is and how I'm improving, so you can also improve and really just love playing the game. Because if you watch my latest live streams, which I have everything broadcasted, and you can look at the playlist I have linked down below with every live stream I've ever done, and kind of watch me play if you want to go there. Everything's time stamped as well. So first off, there's the essential tips, which I have a little guide here that essentially just says, hey, always be building villagers, don't hoard resources, build counters to whatever your opponent's doing. Those are the basics. Everyone kind of knows that. Hopefully you already know that. And that's going to get you into like gold 2, gold 3 once you have some level of competency in those three things. The next thing, though, is how to learn. And this is a big thing. I already told you what not to do. But what are you missing that's causing you to not maybe enjoy the game, or just being a one trick pony where you're just building the same build order? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I kind of want to like expand on that because it's something I've learned in this last bit. And we'll go over 3 games based on opponents. So you already know to like, hey, if they're building horsemen, you want to build spearmen. Or if they're building archers, you want to build horsemen. You have all these counters in the game. But there's also another counter, the strategy of the opponent. Are they going to be aggressively rushing you in Feudal Age? Or are they trying to fast castle? Or are they turtling? Are they booming and building multiple TCs? These are 3 different types of play styles that you have to react to. It means you can't just follow one build order and just win every game. It's just not a thing. So, I kind of want to show you 3 different games. I had one game where it was an aggressive rush. I ended up seeing it, adapting, and then going forward, and I'll show you how I adapted. It's messy, but it was an adaptation. I didn't just tunnel vision into nothing and die. The next one was a turtle game where the opponent was HRE, they turtled up, and then there was a couple other win conditions there that I ignored and ended up losing the game because I ignored one of those win conditions. And then the third one, he tried to boom on me, and I essentially how to actually prepare for that and time those military attacks so you could maybe interrupt the boom or counter it. And those are the big things. You can't just follow one build order. In none of these games I necessarily did a great job in, even though I won 2 of the 3 that I'm about to show you. I wanted to just kind of show you it's okay to lose these games, but look back and figure out what you're doing wrong. Don't just blindly follow a build order. Learn how to adapt. And that's what I want to kind of show here. So the first game I'm going to show you is Japanese. I'm playing Japanese in every one of these games against Chinese, and then the next one's going to be HRE, and the next one after that is going to be English. And when you're picking a civ too to play, pick a civ that can do all 3 of these strategies, whether it's early aggression, whether it is booming, or just straight up turtling as well. You got to kind of pick a civ. That's why English is probably so good. House of Lancaster is also a great pick because they can do all 3 of these strategies very, very well. Certain civs sometimes don't, typically exceed in certain areas of these strategies, and it's good to know. So when you're thinking of Chinese, I know, hey, they usually boom. Sometimes they can turtle. They have like the Great Wall and some other stuff that can be really nasty. And I wanted to make sure, okay, probably early aggression would be good here. There's a lot of other things, and I kind of went in going, oh, he's probably going to leave me alone. I'll be able to get some mounted Sams. Probably a fast castle on this one would be appropriate response. That's what I was thinking going into the game, and that's how you should think when you're thinking of the strategy. Not like, oh, this game I just feel like doing this, or I'm going to take my scout and scout him out. It's going to be, hey, what would Chinese typically do? Now, I was wrong on this one. I thought he was going to boom, and that's not what happened. So here's the start of the game. Pretty standard opening. Now, one thing he's doing here, which is kind of weird, he has multiple scouts. Like, he sent out 3 different scouts. He has one scout essentially breaking down this. He has another scout that's just grabbing sheep, and then he has another scout back here, I think, delivering the sheep. It's kind of wild. And then something happens about 4 minutes, but it takes me a little bit to see. He takes 8 villagers, and I'm thinking, oh, he'll probably boom. And luckily, I scouted out as I was grabbing the sheep, and I was like, oh, crap. 8 villagers coming to my side, what could that be? Well, Barbican rush is what that is. So I was like, okay, Barbican rush, what do I do to adapt? All these scouts are now torching down these. I could probably surround them and like pull vills to get it, but I have enough gold to age up. And I'm like, all right, he's going to do a Barbican rush on me. Now, he's just grabbing the deer here, which I thought was kind of interesting. And I need to be able to put some pressure on him. So my thought was I'll just pull my vills. We're going to go heavy on wood. We'll have all the food. I'm going to try and get as many berries as I can. As the Barbican goes up, you can see the range of it. It's just outside my berries. For him, I'm surprised he didn't bring this Barbican down just a little bit so he could hit my berries. Or he could have taken the Barbican, and frankly, I didn't have any units on the thing. He could have just plopped it right down here in front of my gold and just capitalized my berries and my gold right there. But instead, he decides to take the deer, which is a little bit of an odd choice. He might even have won this game if he would have done this. So 6 minutes in, I'm like, okay, we're going heavy on that. We're going to throw down a barracks and an archery range. Barracks, just so when he counters my Yumi Ashigaru, I'm just going to take these guys and annoy him a little bit, get some of the vills, and just look and see if I can't pick off a few of these guys. Maybe get a tax or Imperial official, be able to get them so he doesn't get those tax. So I go circle around, and I'm like, okay, I'll just come down and nail him from this side. And then just kind of back off. So this is actually working pretty well for me. I saw what he did to me. I could have done the same thing to him by just taking a few units. I could have been spearmen as well. It wouldn't matter. But anyways, I'm going to rebuild this. I now have some wood. I'm still floating a good bit of resources. But instead, I think I'm going to try and go up the Castle Age and then take this out in Castle Age. So here we are. We're about 13 minutes in now. You can see him rushing a little bit. He has the Palace Guard, which has 3 armor, melee, and defense. So I'm going to be able to defend a little bit with my Yumi Ashigaru while he tries to amass these guys. I did put a Katana Bannerman on here. It's kind of staving him off. See how producing, just having a little bit of a feudal unit's presence here was worth it before aging up. Even though they're not going to do much, if he's diving my base and I have TC fire, these units are enough to where he can't just run through my base taking anything and everything, and I can do my age up. So now that I have this, I have some better units I can put on the field to try and deal with this. Palace Guards, I was looking at what his comp was, and I was like, what's a good counter to Palace Guards? And I thought Onamusha, or crossbowmen for most civs, would be a good counter for that. So I start printing out some Onamushas. I'm going to tank the front line with mounted Sams. They're heavy armor, deflective, and I am grabbing some relics here. So always be thinking of relics and sacred sites as well mid-game, because that's a ton of gold. So here he comes. He's going to dive me. I have a couple units here, and he's going to be able to take down most of these guys. Now, I should pull them back right under the TC if I can. Get them as close as possible. and get him to dive further. But these were all pretty cheap units except for like the bannermen, and I didn't actually lose too much there. Although the army value, as you see, is pretty even. So he actually is a little bit less in army value, even though he thinks, oh wow, I just killed him, what a big fight. He's not getting any of the relics. He's ignoring the win condition there. He's not getting any of the sacred sites as he has map control. He did go ahead and grab a lot of the like deer and other things in the map. The deer's still here. He still hasn't went on the boar. And he's also grabbing up tons of the berries. Look at this. This is like his third or fourth berry patch. And he still has some berries back here at home. So in Gold League, people ignore win conditions. And this means even when you, let's say, should be winning a game, you lose the game because of win conditions. This is why like no pro player will ever lose to a gold player in any matchup. Like he could be sick. He could like literally AFK for 5 minutes and come back and still win because they just understand, one, always be spending resources to, under 100. And then they also know the win condition so well that there's just no way you're ever going to beat them because you can't spend as much resources efficiently as them, and also they know exactly where it is. And honestly, not even pro. This is Conqueror or even Diamond really are really good at spending resources, and they're really good at understanding every win condition. That's why you shouldn't go and go into like Plat level, because yeah, you can use cheese strats to win in feudal, but you're not going to understand, hey, what happens in age 3, what happens in imp age, what happens in later game. How do you win the game when he should be attacking with this force and causing havoc in my base, but he just can't. And it's given me time to build up an Onamusha presence here. I'm also still grabbing relics. You can see I've now got 3 relics. I'm floating a good bit of wood, but that wood can be converted into farms. So here comes the dive. He's diving with the palace guards. Now, I only have a couple units here, but you can see it's still doing quite well. And as soon as he sees all my units come in, he tries to run back to, like, the Barbican. But he's not going to make it back. These Onamusha are just going to tear through his units, and at the same time, we're going to take out a ton of these vills. Now, he's trying to do some crossbowmen here. And even though I probably shouldn't take necessarily that under the Barbican, I'm going to back out a little bit. And I was like, I probably could have taken this out, but I was unsure. So I went ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to get a little bit bigger army, maybe even go up to Imp Age and just finish it out there. Or grab another, at least Iron Undermesh 1, probably do Iron Rivets level 2 range armor, because these guys have no range armor. These guys actually have 4 range armor, but that's about to be increased to 5 or maybe even 6. And then pretty soon that range attack is not going to be as bad. So here comes the dive. I waited till I got my armor. You can see me go wedge rivets here. And I'm going to pull back again. Just slowly trying to bait him out from under that Barbican. And those crossbows, now that you see, they're starting to do en masse. So they're going to take out a lot of these guys. I can't stay here very long. But these Onamusha are doing quite well, even though I'm losing Mountain Sams. I probably should go ahead and transition into some like wood units to tank the front line here. Maybe some spears, something like that. Just to soak up some of this crossbowman fire. Or maybe even some horsemen. It wouldn't even be that bad. Mounted Sams into this comp is not great. So here we are at 22. We're kind of jockeying for position. He's tossing a keep down, and I'm like, alright, let's go ahead and go in here. He has a bunch of spears, which he's diving under my TC fire with all these spears. So we're just going to let them kind of go in. I'm going to try and put my mounted Sams on the back line here. Try and keep them away from this massive spears. Now, as soon as that keep goes up, I'm like, oh, man. Fighting under here, I'm going to probably end up losing my entire force. because none of these guys have any ranged armor, and they're just going to get taken out by the keep. So I'm going to pull everything back so I don't lose my force. And then I'm like, you know what? We're pretty close to Imp Age. Let's go ahead and go up to Imp. But most of his units are spears and crossbowmen, which aren't great for diving. So I thought, hey, I'll just go through his back lineup, do some eco damage, force him to kind of turtle up a little bit. And in the interim, I'm getting Imp Age back here. Now, my frame drops are kind of insane right here. I think it's something with the new patch. So as this transitions over, I will go ahead and get some Ozutsu. That's going to deal with all these keeps. It's going to be able to clear out all these buildings and defensive buildings. You can see him just throw up tons of keeps, not realizing, I guess, he's going against Japan. Don't ever build a ton of keeps against Japanese, because if they amass Ozutsu, they're just going to destroy it in seconds. He does a good, successful raid here on the back line. Gets a bunch of my vills, which is really good for him. But he's still in age 3, and I'm already gone up to age 4. So at the same time, he needs to be working towards age 4. He's heavy on gold. I'm spending my resources probably a little bit better than him. I need more production and be queuing up more vills. Now, if you look at my production buildings, we have 6 stables, so I'm able to crank through a lot of my resources a lot better than him. I have 2 archery ranges, probably still not enough production, but enough to where I can get going. His production buildings, you can see he's done a couple, but not enough, not nearly what I have. Now, he's taken out all this stone, which, good lord, he spent all that time, all these resources inefficiently on stone and wood. And I'm just going to take out all of his units here because he was just relying on that keep. Now, trying to keep these mounted Sams away from all these spears and just let the Yumi Ashigaru and the Onamusha kind of tank them is what we're doing. This front line is great versus any kind of, like, hey, crossbowmen. Honestly, at this point, I could just jam out a bunch of wood vills and it would have been fine. But with the Ozutsu, we should be able to just go through, take out everything here. And look at this. He's tossed up another keep. Watch how fast the Ozutsu just melted. Actually, I don't even think I go through it. Let's see what I end up doing. Oh, I lost my front line and I didn't want to dive that just yet. I go with just 1 cannon and then just some Ozutsu once I have a couple units for a front line. And then I just kind of clear out the rest of his buildings here. So as you can see, he has all these farms and he's surrounded with a bunch of keeps, but it doesn't really matter because, well, he has these 2 landmarks. I'm taking down his TC. I'm going to take down the last landmark. Game over. So he taps out at this point. He's like, oh, wow. I didn't realize Ozutsu was so powerful, essentially, in this game. But this is really important, understanding win conditions, not overreacting to things, but also being able to adjust depending on what's happening in the field. It seemed like he just wanted to make palace guards, and that was his strat. Barbican, palace guards. And I imagine he probably does that almost every game like most gold players. They find something that kind of works more than probably half the time. But the problem with that is people will kind of see your name, they'll understand what you're normally doing, and then they're going to adjust to whatever style of play you have. I remember when I got coached by GUA, or Give You Anxiety, and he taught me a build order, and I shared that build order with everybody, and I was like, check out this awesome build order, and I was winning like 80% of my games in gold and lower plat with that build order. He's like, dude, this is a strong build order. Once I shared that build order and people started seeing it everywhere, and then they started seeing me on the ladder, they knew what to expect. They're like, he's going to just do the GUA build order, and I know what to expect from him. Mounted Sams at like 10 minutes, and maybe 1 Bannerman at 5 minutes that I have to deal with early aggression. I'll throw a tower up. And that's how people, like, if you knew that's what I was going to do, it makes the fight so much easier. So be thinking what your opponent's going to do and then react to it. Not just their units, but their strategy. All right, I'm not going to show all of this game. I'm going to show you the final battle and then also what happens mid-game. Understanding those win conditions is super important. I could have won this game if I changed one thing, even with me missing something pretty massive. Against HRE, I should be thinking, what's HRE known for? Well, they're known for fast castling, getting out on the map, grabbing relics. I knew that going into this game, and yet I didn't actually do anything about it. You can see he's heavy on gold. If I scouted that out, he's heavy on food. There he goes. He's going Rignets, so you know he's going to make a play for the relics. He already has prelates, so you can see, look, this guy's just waiting around for age 3. Grabs it. There goes another prelate. He's grabbing this one. He's getting that one. So he's already grabbed almost all the relics. There it is. So he just captured all 5 relics by 11 minutes. That's huge. He's almost won the game. But if I would have recognized something right away, once I realized he has all the relics, this fight cannot go past 20 minutes. He's going to get so much gold from all those relics, I cannot beat him longevity-wise. I could try and out-boom him, which I kind of try. I toss a TC to equalize a little bit of that. TC down here will help produce more vills, and maybe I can make up that massive shortfalling from missing every relic. But also, another win condition, I don't think I can quite make up for that much, especially since he has Rignets. I can go for the Sacred Site. Now, this is King of the Hill. It's only one Sacred Site, so you can just amass a ton of units, maybe toss down a keep. If, I wasn't Japanese, I can't really do a keep in Castle Age, but I could go Imp Age for that. But right now, he's kind of just leaving me to it. Now, at this point in time, I know not to dive his base. 5 relics, he's ahead in resources. You can see, look how much gold he has. Just an insane amount. And 10 minutes is on the clock now that I got Sacred Site. The big thing here is I need to be thinking how to hold this position for 10 minutes to win the game. Other thing, don't cap Sacred Site when you're holding a Yoroshido. I'm just gonna put that out there if you're Japanese, but neither here or now. Gold plays. So I'm getting this done, but I was pretty late to that. I could have probably actually been on that Sacred Site 3 or 4 minutes behind. He's going to be building up a bunch of things. What is he getting? He's Landsknechts, Men-at-Arms, Spearmen. He's probably going to go, I think he goes Imp Age here. And if I was just 3 minutes ahead of this timer would already be almost 5 minutes. And that means he's not going to be able to go Imp Age and then get all the upgrades probably by the time he needs to decap that Sacred Site. So that would be my best chance of winning this game. I was just a little too slow here. But I did grab another TC down back in the back of my base. Going to try and equalize this worker count. He had some production problems for whatever reason. His worker count's actually only 51. I think him going way out here, him zero locking on his forces. Just remember, like, he should be way ahead with 11 worker kills, and he's not. That's why gold players, like, it's so important to just understand these basic win conditions. Got all these prelates. No siege, though. So, 3 minutes. It's go time. I'm still waiting on some of my upgrades to happen. And I just don't have the forces here. It's even close, though. Like, when you look at this fight, these Landsknechts in the back here, if I would have focused them down and I micro just a little bit better, we could have probably pulled this out. So he decaps this with just a little bit to spare. At this point, I kind of tap out because I knew there was no coming back. So the final game, we got English, and I'm doing Japanese as well. Now this is an interesting game because this one is very much like a turtle style. We saw that a little bit from the other one, and maybe a little bit of a boom. I think he does second TC and a few other things. Against Boom, a little bit of early aggression here would have gone a long way. Maybe mined a little bit of stone, got a bannerman out at like 5 minutes. Would have been pretty big. He's going Abbey of Kings, so he'll have a king to harass, but I could have done the same thing to him with Japanese. I could have also done like against a boom, early aggression really is great. So maybe a Yumi Ashigaru rush would have been really good as well against this. He does a little bit of harassment here, but I'm going to fast forward through most of this game so you can see what happens. Bad placement of my farms here, probably somewhere in the back. Looking at this right in here probably would have been a better spot, and that way it would cover kind of like the gold and this. I could have done a wall back here, and then maybe even that outpost would have covered a lot more. But he is causing quite a bit of idle time with his raids with just that king. This is also a really bad placement in the town center way down here. He tossed it all the way over on the deer, but this would be very hard to defend. So if I'm castle age right now, and of course I got a couple mounted Sams. I love mounted Sams. They're just such a great unit. I could have scouted this out, and there's not much he could have done army wise. His army value is only like 800, 900. I got almost 2,000, and I just did not see this at all. And this would have just been prime pickings because this only houses 8, and mounted Sams already have a ton of ranged armor 4. If I would have just done iron undermesh, well, I already have it. Iron undermesh, that's 5. And if you look at the TC fire here, dude, it would have been just absolute destruction. I would have been able to kill all these workers, and the game would have been called right here at 12 minutes if I did proper scouting. So anyways, he's building some spears, a couple knights, and a few archers. You know, a little bit of a comp, and trying to get that down. I'm going to pull my units back, deal with his raid. And the beauty of like House of Lancaster in English, the White Tower is almost impossible to dive, you know? You got to have a big force to be able to do that. Now I do a little bit of raids on the backside here. I take care of his raid back here with his Lancers. And overall, pretty darn good. I got about 8 worker kills. Probably could have got a couple more, but alas, wasn't meant to be. I do dive into a bunch of spears right there, which kind of cost me a lot. I don't know why I hang out here. Just Yumis would have been just fine, because those spears just cost nothing, and they're taking out some heavy gold units, so that's not a good trade in my respect here. So I'm pulling these guys back. So I need to transition to Yumis here, based on what's happening. I'm still queuing up a bunch of a couple Onamushas. I really need to transition to Yumi Ashigaru, though. That's the answer to his army right here for a lot of it. Onamushas are great for the knights, but he has a lot of spears. So really, Onamushas, maybe a couple Sams, or even the mounted Sams is fine. But probably Sams would be the best for the front line. And then some Yumi Ashigaru would have been perfect. So he dives my base, and I'm able to kind of take him out with my little raid force here. But don't chase into that. Oh, Chris. Come on. Why you do that? Bring those guys back. Force them to sit under TC fire, and then do it. So I chased a little too much there. Lose a ton of my force. This game should be over right here. 21 minutes, right? And he's 104 workers to my 58. He has 42 army. His army value is about 150% of mine. It's game over, right? I win this game. Watch what happens here. He's not pressing the advantage. He should be taking out most of my guys, or at least at the very least taking this out and hitting all of the pocket resources. I'm on gold. I'm doing that. He's doing even some sneaky trading back here. You got all of this that I haven't even seen yet. I don't even think I do see it. So then I don't have a good comp here. I was like, oh, screw it, I'll go up to Imp Age. And even though my comp's awful and I just lose all my Ozutsu here, I'm still got a few bit. Now, again, diving all those mounted Sams right into the spears. I take a little force, take out the Trebs. That gives me a little bit of time. But a bad comp altogether. I know it's a bad comp, but I'm just like at this point, I'm like, well, he's not really diving me. He's just scared of diving because he doesn't. And maybe the knights could go in underneath, and those could deal with a lot of that archer fire. He has, look, 3 range armor over here. He even got angled surfaces. So the fact he's not diving is kind of shocking. I think he could have done a ton of eco damage here, but he's just letting me stay in the game when he could have finished me off there. Honestly, just a ram or two would have been enough. So he tries to do a keep drop right here, and I'm like, all right, we're going to dive again into all of those archers and everything that he's got. But the thing is, I'm imp age with Japan. You can't keep drop Japan when they're imp age, especially if they have any kind of force, because those Ozutsu are just brutal. Like, look at this. 4 Ozutsu, he gets the keep up. Guess what? Doesn't matter. I take it down, and then I'm like, okay, dive me with all your longbows, which wouldn't end well for him. Like, look at this. One of these guys against all these longbows, just 4 are able to take out almost this entire mass of longbows. He should have came back, gone up to imp age, at imp age, upgraded all his units instead of throwing them away against my imp age units. And now, look at the game now. He's still technically ahead, but that army value, I have more army value than him. I'm not diving just yet, just enough to kind of keep him in the fight. I'm slowly going up here. Now, I should have probably done another town center back here to try and equalize this, but I didn't know he was doing this back here. I was just like, man, he's got a lot of resources. Also, win conditions here. Look at the map right now. He's not grabbing any relics. I still have another relic out on the map. I have 3 relics, but I stopped at 3. Like, why don't I just grab another one, toss down a second Shinto shrine, and toss the relics in there? That would have been smart as well. So anyways, he's like, all right, the keep drop didn't work. I know what I'll do. I'll do another keep drop. I'm gonna put Berkshire back here. Berkshire. He's gonna do Berkshire back here against a bunch of Ozutsu. So anyways, we'll see how this works out for him. He doesn't have any imp upgrades. He just went up with Berkshire. And then he's going to lose all his units. Like, I can toss these upgraded mounted SAMs directly into his forces. The Ozutsu's just taking out Berkshire like it's nothing. Just in like a minute or two, if that. And then I can just roll through the base. I'm going to just build up this again. And I'm not diving into that thing of spears either. You see how I was kind of running the horses around on that fight? Here comes the White Palace. He's like, okay, we're gonna save the White Palace, and then he's like, oh, yeah, there's 9 Ozutsu, or actually 16 Ozutsu now. This game, he needs to take out the Ozutsu, otherwise it's just instant destruction. So look how fast the Ozutsu will take this out. We engaged it 10 seconds after. And this is the main TC with what? 7,000 health. And those Ozutsu melt through it in about a minute, if that, and then he just taps out. And the big thing with this one was I didn't grab relics. I didn't grab sacred sites. I missed those win conditions. I could have forced his hand in a lot of other places and forced him to engage me instead of having to do this mass imp ball of Ozutsu. It still worked, but he also didn't finish me off. And it's really understanding these win conditions is so important. I think you shouldn't go too heavy into Plat using custom build orders and always finishing in feudal age and then not understanding castle and imp age. I understand you're going to flounder a little bit, and I think understanding win conditions and how to finish fights and look at these fights, like both your wins and losses. If you're in Gold League, you're doing a bunch of things wrongs. That's the thing you need to take away from this video is you're gold, you suck, you have nothing against a Plat player, or definitely not a diamond or conch. Those players understand these fundamentals a lot better. And that's why I kind of wanted to make this. Just say, hey, not only understand the comps and just the essential tips with just always being builders, not hoarding resources, that's great, but also understanding how to counter play styles. Super important. I think Valdemar did a great video on this back in the day as well. I remember watching. I'm like, oh, okay, and it never really clicked. Hey, if it's like French, what are they gonna do? French are probably gonna do knights in age 2 because that's like what French does. And you're like, okay, maybe barracks as soon as I hit a feudal age, or I'm starting to age up to feudal age. Let's go ahead and toss down to some barracks, get some spearmen on the field. Don't just blindly try to like do a naked fast castle against French. That's stupid. Throw down a barracks, get some spearmen out, know what they're gonna do, and be like, okay, what would complement the spearmen? Well, they're gonna have to build archers into those spears. What could I do as well? And think of those counters. Maybe if Japan, maybe some samurais would be good against that as well, just in case those archers come in, or maybe even horsemen, or and think about where you're at. It all depends on the map. What do you have available? What resources can you get? Are you getting rushed? Are they turtling? Are they booming? Try and put some pressure on them. There's just so much to keep track of that I just don't want people to just follow one way to build up or rank up using a really limited, like 10% subset of knowledge to achieve a higher rank. And then all of a sudden, when the meta gets fixed or that bug gets fixed that you're exploiting, as far as like a custom build order or something that's OP, then you just lose all the time. And that's not fun. I want you to have fun. I love this game. It's so much fun. But you gotta lose in gold. You gotta do this. Stay in gold for a little bit. Don't be like, I need to be plat. And I follow that same advice. Even though I went up to plat, I was like, nah, I'm not quite ready for it. I'm still making a lot of mistakes. Let's hang out in gold a little bit, have some fun. I'm gonna pick some different civs and just kind of really understand the game better. And I really do like House of Lancaster, but I felt like it was gonna push me too much into plat too early. So I wanted to pick something that I'm not necessarily really strong with, and then just kind of play with that. And I love playing it. Anyways, let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you in the next one.